Right, grade 12, in this last lesson, I'm going to talk through all the shorter ones. Yeah, I'm not going to make these shorter ones into each of their own videos. I'm going to group all the shorter little strategies together. All right, so the first one that we're going to look at is JIPSA, which is the Joint Initiative on Priority Skills Acquisition. You'll remember when I did ASGISA with you, I also referred to JIPSA because JIPSA was introduced together with ASGISA as the skills empowerment arm of ASGISA. Okay, remember the focus of ASGISA, the goal was to halve poverty and unemployment, and one of the focus areas was skills development, education and skills development. So through ASGISA, they launched a separate strategy called JIPSA so that they could improve the skills of the workforce. Okay, so JIPSA was also launched in 2006 together with ASGISA to address the country's chronic problem areas, which is unemployment and skills shortages. Now, we know we have an oversupply of unskilled workers, and those unskilled workers find it very, very hard to find employment because nobody wants to employ an unskilled person. So JIPSA was launched as a strategy to address the skills shortages so that people could become more employable and find it easier to find jobs. Okay, the aim of JIPSA was to identify urgent skills needs. Okay, so they needed to identify which areas there are the very urgent skills shortages, and then they needed to find quick and effective solutions. All right, like special training programs. All right, like for example, through the CETAs, special training programs that is geared towards that specific industry. Once they've identified the skills that is needed, they could come up with skills development programs to give people the skills that they needed. Okay, so the first aim was to identify urgent skills needs. Now, where are the skills shortages? And then the solutions that they proposed was, for example, special training programs. They also came up with the idea of re-engaging retirees. All right, so where people obviously that have retired, that is over 60, 65, and they've retired, those retired people obviously have built up lots of experience over the years. They had the skills to do their job for many, many years. So we can re-engage these retirees. We can get the retired people in to come and train new people, to bring young people and retired people together, unskilled people and retired people together, so that the retirees could work with these unskilled people and teach them everything that they know, kind of like an in-service training, so that the unskilled people can gain the skills that is needed. And another solution was, for example, to draw immigrants with the necessary skills. All right, so if there was people, highly skilled people in other countries that we could get in on a consultancy basis, where they would come in and work alongside the unskilled people, same principle as the retirees, and they would provide the necessary skills training. They would work alongside unskilled people for a couple of months, couple of years, until they could impart their knowledge on the unskilled people. Then obviously they would go back where they came from, and the unskilled people would turn into skilled people. And then the last strategy was to focus on the developing skills in infrastructure project management, because infrastructure obviously was a focus area of all of these strategies. So we needed to have a proper system in place to expand that infrastructure. All right, the next short little strategy is the Expanded Public Works Program, or the EPWP. I did discuss this when we did chapter 11, okay, in the afternoon lessons. Expanded Public Works Program is basically a job creation program. It's all about creating jobs where the government would identify, for example, in a rural area, what kind of infrastructure is needed. Okay, remember, because infrastructure is also a focus area. So they would identify what infrastructure is necessary or is lacking in a specific area. And what they would then do is they would employ unskilled people from that local rural area that are unskilled, and they would give them a temporary job. Okay, the Expanded Public Works Program is always a temporary job. You are employed to complete a contract, like, for example, build a school. They employ the unskilled people, and then they will give them the skills. Now, they will teach you how to do the bricklaying and the plumbing and the electrical and the painting and the whatever for however many years it takes to finish this project. Okay, it's labor intensive, so it creates lots of jobs. Throughout this project, obviously, these workers will receive a wage or a salary. They will use their wage or salary to spend at retailers in the area. Retailers will kind of see an increase in demand. They will increase their employment, so it spills over into other sectors as well. And then obviously once the contract is finished, once the school have been built, The workers will once again be unemployed, but now they're no longer unskilled. Now they've gained a skill which makes it easier for them then to find another job. All right. So expanded public works, the main aim is to create employment. All right. But as a byproduct, these people also gain skills, so that when the project is finished, it's easier for them to find a job. All right. In some areas, they also use the expanded public works to clean, like at the coastal areas sometimes. They employ people to clean up the beaches and the walkways or whatever. That's also part of the expanded public works program. Okay, that's obviously a more permanent kind of job in peak areas in holiday destinations. All right, the next shorter little program is the Small Business Development Program. Okay, obviously I have mentioned throughout the other strategies that the focus is to promote the establishment of SMMEs. They want to promote the establishment of smaller businesses. They want to support them in whatever way. So the Small Business Development Program is designed to deliver support and services to your SMMEs. And it includes, for example, Kula Enterprises, which is there to provide financial support for SMMEs. CEDA provides non-financial support, so more advice and guidance and training. Then the South African Microfinance Apex Fund, also for microfinance, financial support. And then the National Empowerment Fund, they fund specifically BBBE transactions. Okay, so where previously disadvantaged people want to start businesses, they can go through the National Empowerment Fund for financing. All right, then the next small little one is the Black Economic Empowerment Programs. Obviously, we've spoken about BEE, the Black Economic Empowerment Act. We've spoken about employment equity. Those are the two laws that provides the legal basis for the transformation of South African economy, whereby there's a range of measures to ensure redress, affirmative action in the workplace, in business environments where previously disadvantaged people has to be given advantages. All right, and then there's also land restitution and redistribution that has also been conducted in terms of these goals. Okay, I'm not going to say much more because we did discuss this. Okay, we've spoken about BBBE, we've spoken about employment equity, we've spoken about affirmative action, we've gone through the land restitution, redistribution. Remember, it's not the same thing. We did discuss that. All right, and then the last little small strategy is the NSDS. Okay, in terms of the NSDS, this is where the focus basically is on the high quality and relevant education and training skills. Now, NSDS, if you've done business studies, we did speak about the NSDS together with the Skills Development Act. The two goes hand in hand. So the idea here is to provide high quality and relevant training, including workplace learning and experience through learnerships, the CETAs and the learnerships, to make sure that there's effective participation by everybody and in order to reduce inequalities. We said that obviously some people have advantages in terms of education and training. They are more likely to be appointed into positions. They're more likely to get the promotions. So the idea is that through the NSDS to make it compulsory for businesses to invest in skills development so that where they might have workers that are less skilled to provide workplace skills training, okay, bring in experts, do the training, increase the skills levels of the people that are already working and participating in the economy, but we want to make sure that they can effectively participate, meaningful participation. They can qualify for bigger salaries the more qualified they are, and the whole idea is to reduce the inequalities, to make sure that everybody on some level can have access to education and skills training.